doing the damn thing, Bart.
Let's fucking do it.
All right, dude. Tell me about the project, my man.
Project Power?
Yeah, let's jump right in.
Project Power. So, being in fitness for as long as I've been in fitness, man, you go through so many different avenues of fitness where you're first trying to just make a name for yourself in terms of, I know what I'm doing, and there's an ego part of it, and you're trying to lift really heavy weights, and you're trying to wear the gear, and you're trying to like personify what you think fitness is. And then you kind of get some confidence with that, and then you transition into like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. Now I'm going to get really scientific with this shit so I can see more results from what I'm doing. And then you do that for a while, and then you start hopping on different fads that seem like they go with what the science is showing you, and eventually get to the point where you feel like you've tried a lot of different things, and now you're just in the lifestyle. Well, I think people, unfortunately, along that way, because they necessarily don't have the right information, they don't have the right circle, they don't have the right facility, or whatever, many different reasons, they'll either quit, or they get the wrong impression, or they'll meet the wrong circle, or they'll go to the wrong group, and it kills fitness for them. It defines it in a way that they don't feel like it's part of them or that they're part of it. So Project Power started in my mind a long time ago. Whenever I went into, the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gyms that I've been to across the country, I can see these people, and it just seems like there's a whole bunch of individuals in the same place that obviously have some sort of a similar passion for physical exercise, but they all seem so individualistic. So I wanted to build an environment where, even though you may start along that path, you just started, you're doing the science thing, you're doing the group thing, whatever, you have an environment where the actual community shares the love of the physical fitness with each other. Okay? How do you do that? You eliminate all those little tiny freaking reasons why you wouldn't like to go to your gym, or that you're intimidated to go to your gym, or you're not seeing the results from going to your gym. And they're so minute. And if you just walk in the door and you might see these cool lights, and you might see the cool equipment, and you think that might be what makes the gym, but it's not. It's that, a lounge that I put in there so that when you do find someone that you connect with, dude, you can sit down for 30 minutes and have a conversation after our workout. Or, you're at the water fountain, and I put 3 of them next to one another. So while you're filling up, you can say, hey, man, I saw that squat, and you fist bump them. There's so many opportunities here to create community and connection that I think that's something that you can't really find a whole lot of other places. I know you like martial arts. Like, that's the beauty of martial arts. You roll with someone one-on-one intimately for fucking 30 minutes. You're going to have some sort of relationship after that. You went through hell with each other, and so now you're boys or whatever. That can be duplicated, I think, in these type of environments. I just unfortunately think that the market and the business side of gyms doesn't focus on that. They're just obviously bottom dollar, because that's what business generally is explained as little investment as possible with as much profit as possible. I understand that, but I also understand the power of residual business and word of mouth and guerrilla marketing. And when you create an environment, it itself will grow, because it's alive, it's passion, it's love. Like, that shit will fucking always expand.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about the bottom dollar, because there will always be dollars as it expands. Because that's how you get into the fucking building, is dollars.
Yeah, dude. It's all, I mean, dude, yeah, like you said, it really does boil down a lot of times to, like, the community. If you have a community, then it's amazing what will grow from that, for sure. Hands down, my favorite part about jiu-jitsu is the last, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes to an hour, you'll be sitting there after you're done training, just talking, sitting there on the mats, just talking with a group of people. So by far the best part of jiu-jitsu is that part, like after training, just shooting the shit, just hanging out with the people.
Has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu at that point.
Conversations about the world and life and family and all the things, dude.
And where else do you get something like that outside of jiu-jitsu? How many other places do you go to?
Dude, there's not a lot of places like, the jiu-jitsu gym where you can get that kind of thing. You know what I mean? I think people probably find it, and from a fitness-related aspect, I think a lot of people get that in like CrossFit gyms. I think that's probably the biggest thing with the CrossFit is the community aspect of it, where people, they find these small box gyms and they're like, oh man, they got your 10, 20, 30 people that are now your friends that you're all just sweating and working
That's
hard
right.
with together,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's a lot to be said to just working hard with people, right?
Yeah, and again, like that is the common denominator between all of those things, the physical aspect. But like very seldomly do you let's say you leave your jiu-jitsu gym for the third time, it's your third time there, and you've just fallen in love with it. When you go tell the other friend that you have that doesn't go there about this place, very seldomly is the entire conversation about how technical the professor was or how amazing his armbar was. There's like a smidge of that, and then there's like, dude, everyone's fucking cool as shit. Like everyone's dope, dude. This place, they're fucking awesome,
Mm-hmm.
You go to your barber shop, it's the same thing, man. It's like, yeah, you cut my hair, but dude, like this guy went to the fucking Nam and he's got stories, and we connect. That's lost in public gyms. You can get it in private studios, you can get it in CrossFit places, but these are all like exclusion type places. There's only so many spots. There's only so many classes. Like you can't just fucking roam and stay there for 4 hours. So I'll even elaborate a little bit further because you're seeing step one. And as we spoke before we started talking, it's a big vision, right?
Yeah.
So the end goal is I have a 4-pillar system. So fitness, finance, relationship, mindset. When I was with S2 and the best parts of S2, someone comes in for some nutritional advice, we get that out of the way, they make the purchase, they stay for 35 minutes, we shoot the shit. When they go and tell their friends or I get a handwritten note back or an email or something, one of those other 3 were somehow involved. Either we talked about some investment opportunities, we talked about some books that we've read on mindset, either we've talked about how to manage your relationship with your wife better. Because ultimately, your happiness, in my opinion, has to have all 4 of those pillars on at all times.
Mm.
If you are jacked and your wife loves you and you seem like a positive person, but you can't fucking pay your bills, you're stressed. If you got money up the ass, you have hot chicks around you all the time, but you're fat and dying because you're not taking care of yourself, you're stressed out. So anytime you have, and this is unfortunately, I think, one of our cultural biases in society right now, and Instagram and all this stuff, is they hone in on one of these, blow it up, get notoriety for it, and then they look in the mirror and all they see is the pillar that they don't focus on.
Yeah.
My wife hates me. I'm jacked. I got money. Nobody likes me. That person's not happy.
Yeah.
Right? So I have this, that's where this is all kind of going to, is our goal is to fix all 4 at all times. You should never neglect one thinking that the neglection of that one and enhancing another one will somehow compensate. So eventually all the employees at Project Power, they'll have a expertise in a background other than fitness. Ex-financial advisors, ex-marriage counselors, inspirational speakers, all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
other expertises and backgrounds.
So you get done squatting, guy comes over, fist pounds you because you just PR'd, doesn't say anything else to you, walks away just because he was genuinely excited for you. You say, hey, thanks, man, so much. You start shooting the shit in the lounge. You have a fucking problem with your investment property. He just so happened to be an investor before this and gives you a nice, cool new idea to try.
Yeah.
You go out there and you change your direction of finance because of the gym you go to.
Yeah.
That's the power of Project Power.
Yeah.
That's why there's no word fitness in the name, is because it's bigger than fitness. This is a life-enhancing environment. I just love fitness, so that's my foundation. That's the stepping stone to start it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it sounds like you're trying to create a place in which people can gather and connect and grow.
That's right. Yeah, I mean.
And fitness is kind of the foundation, like the vehicle.
Yeah, man.
To build it.
Again, like if you promote the 4-pillar system, for someone to be mentally ready to take on 4 pillars is very few and far between. It's a very overwhelming concept if you think about it, like fix your whole fucking life and fix every avenue in it. That's a lot. So if you can make it more digestible and just say, let's just start with this, go to the gym for 5 months, get some confidence, you'd stuck to your word, you're seeing progress physically. Now you have enough energy to tackle your bills. Now you have enough energy to talk to your wife openly and honestly. Like it transitions the energy into the rest of your life. And you've heard that before with a lot of different things. I do jujitsu and I can handle someone yelling at me at the grocery store better because I've expelled all this energy at the gym and now I'm more confident in myself.
Yes, that incremental progress, right?
Yeah.
You're growing, you're building, you're getting stronger. Yeah, dude, that's how so many people get overwhelmed, right? Whenever they think about the task as a whole, you know what I'm saying? And then a lot of times you get that whole paralysis by analysis thing where you're just thinking and thinking and thinking and then you're never acting.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. The best form of marketing is marketing that doesn't seem like marketing. The best form of education is education that doesn't seem like education. Like if you attack something and say it is what it is,
Yeah.
you have a much higher likelihood to put your arm out and say, I'm not ready. But if you're like, hey, we're going to go for a hike. And we're like, okay, I can fucking handle a hike. And then halfway through the hike, like, oh, we got to jump off this 30-foot cliff. Well, I'm already here, so I might as well try.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, why not?
Why not? I'm already here. I don't want to look like a bitch next to him, so I'm going to try. But if before on the hike I said, hey, dude, we're going to go jump off this cliff, you're like, nah, I got shit to do.
I don't know, man. What's at the bottom of the cliff?
Yeah. Treasure chest, bro.
Oh, my goodness.
Life.
Can I turn around and walk back down the path?
You can, but we're all going to watch you, and they're probably not going to invite you for the next one.
Oh, man, you're just going to fucking
Yeah,
just
dude,
leave
don't
me
be a
out?
bitch, bro.
Don't be a bitch.
Don't be a bitch.
That's the lesson.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You're testing my ego, Bart.
Yeah, that's life. A life tester of you.
I know. You know, I feel that it's almost contrary. I think that so many people want to make life out to be this roses thing. Nobody wants to talk about the ugly, harsh reality of, you're going to get punched in the mouth, and this shit's going to be really hard, and you're going to experience heartache and loss, and you're going to make terrible decisions, and like all of the things are also true. And nobody wants to ever fucking talk about that, dude. Everything needs to be, framed in such a positive manner all the time.
You couldn't be more right. And there's like so many examples of that. And obviously, since we're in the gym, I'm going to give a gym example. Like, when you go on Instagram and you look at the fitness people, they don't post the set where like rep 4 and 5 was the ugliest fucking rep known to man.
Yeah.
But they still got it, but it was disgusting. They're going to wait until they can pump all 5 out like it's nothing. So there's always this perception of like, I have never struggled doing cool shit. Right? Just recently, even the stupid ass trick shots that like they throw the ball down the steps and it goes into the fucking cup. Like just recently did they show the 8,000 takes that it takes to do it, right? But for the longest time, like no one showed any of that shit. Like, for example, here, I talked to a couple of my clients because again, like, it's overwhelming when you even meet a person that you believe, like, when we talk to Andy, like, you've done so much. You've created so much. Look at all the results. Like, dude, like, you've got it fucking figured out. So, one of my clients said something along those lines when I took her in here for the first time. And she noticed, like, the trim on that, because that used to be a giant wall. So I broke all that wall down, and I made that trim by hand.
This was 2 spaces?
Yeah, there was like a tiny little door right where that Rogue bike is.
Got it.
So, you see that result and you go, man, that's beautiful, Bart. Like, you don't have a background in carpentry. That looks good. I go, if you were with me as I was doing that, you would have told me 15 times that I'm not cut out for this because I fucked up 15 boards 15 times, right? I had to go back to the store 6 times because I bought the wrong shit. Like, if you were to with me every step of the process, it looks like I am terrible at what I do. But when you look at the end of the result, because I don't quit, because I have perseverance and determination and all those other aspects, you go, wow, you did a phenomenal job.
It's very interesting, the perceptions of others, right? Because so I'm sure you, as you being you just view like, this is my life. I am Bart. This is who I am.
That's right.
Of course, you recognize like your gifts and your abilities, but at the end of the day, you don't really necessarily know what the perception of everybody else is. Like you just
Of
know,
me?
yeah, or your world, or your life, or anything.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just,
yeah,
you
yeah.
just know the reality of your day to day. Take like that for an example, right? You know the reality of what it took to do that,
Mhm,
right? But
mhm.
everybody else just sees that, and they're just like, "Oh fuck, Bart, you're fucking awesome. You do everything awesome."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't fucking fail.
You have to remind them that that's not true.
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? Just you never know what the outside perspective is, or I guess hold on, I guess a better way to say that, you don't always really ever really know what the reality of any situation is for a person. So it's just so interesting, just the perspective of others, right? So I think one of the things that I think about the most is I love the book Shoe Dog.
I never heard of it.
Shoe Dog by Phil Jackson. Or Phil Knight. Did I fuck that up? Phil Knight. It's about Nike.
Okay.
Is it Phil Knight? I always fuck it up, dude.
I don't know.
I think it's Phil Knight.
The
'Cause
owner of Nike?
Yeah, because Phil Jackson is the coach.
Yes.
Right.
Bulls Lakers coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phil Knight by Phil Knight. Yeah.
Okay.
Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. And it's just interesting because essentially the book is just he's just talking about kind of, you know, how Nike started and just the entire process all the way up until like going public.
Mm-hmm.
And that entire process from the outside, I mean, it's you know, 25, 30-year process. And from the outside looking in, you know, they're selling all over the world. They're at billions. I don't know if they're in the billions yet at this time, but you know, millions and millions of dollars, probably billions at this time. But
Sure.
they're the massive brand. But if something would have happened like 2020 where everything locked down,
Yeah.
they would have went bankrupt.
For sure.
They were completely leveraged all the way to the hilt. They had almost no money in the bank.
Yeah.
Every time they would get a massive loan, they would just spend it for growth. So they had no money. They were running thin, and then they didn't actually make money until they went public.
Isn't that crazy?
So that's the thing. So on the outside looking in, this is an uber successful brand. It's the biggest thing in the world. They're fucking kicking ass. You know, they have all of the people, all of the athletes.
No doubt.
They're doing the thing. But if something happened and they weren't public yet, they would have went completely bankrupt. But it's the perception of things. You never really know the truth. And it's so interesting.
Yeah, man. And whenever you look at a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, maybe that's their first year, maybe it's their 12th year, but they seem so fucking ornery and aggressive and stressed and this and that. And even you try to give them some perspective of like, oh, I'm sure he had a long day or terrible meetings or whatever. Like, no, dude, like his entire life is matchsticks right now. Like one flick of fire and the whole thing in his mind is fucking gone.
It could be.
Right? So you've got 50 million coming in. You're spending 49.5 million to do it.
Yeah.
You're making nothing on that much money. So the guy running the thing is like, dude, no, like I'm constantly almost dead every day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's no different than, you know, the typical person maybe making a purchase that's above their means for a car or a house, and they're barely making ends meet, and they seem distraught and unhappy. And we see it all the time. And I think that's where like the money doesn't buy happiness bullshit comes from. It's not that money doesn't buy happiness. Is that when you spend money you don't have, you're not going to be fucking happy because you're pretending, and pretending causes stress, right? So if you can be transparent with the truth, with what you've created and how things are going, not only do you unload that on from yourself, right? You don't have to keep up a charade. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to remember your lies. But secondly, the ones that follow you and the ones that are looking at admiring or supporting at the very least, they know the fucking story. They know the truth, and they know how to handle you, and they know how to handle the thing that you're creating properly. Because, for example, if someone believes that this place is making buku bucks, because let's say it's bringing in buku bucks, they don't really know I'm spending buku bucks to do it. He can afford if I put a hole in the wall. He can afford if I break this dumbbell. They're a fucking big corporation. They make $50 gajillion a year. But if you know that this is barely hanging on, or if you're transparent about how things are actually going, the ones that actually are loyal and supportive, they'll be more caring. They'll be more understanding. They'll be more lenient. Like your life as a leader will be easier when your people that support you understand really what's happening, I think.
Yeah. I guess what I really just mean is that I think that it's often lost how much work really is is going into building the things. You know what I mean? What all it really takes. It's not always pretty. It's
never pretty.
It's
literally never
it's
pretty.
a lot of no sexy,
No.
just working hard
Yes.
ugliness.
Yeah,
And
the
that's what-
only sexy part is,
Yeah.
is what you put on a show.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
Yeah.
even for yourself, even if you're by yourself and you're trying to be sexy, it's fake to try to improve like my own ego.
Yeah.
Because it's not, dude.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, as transparently as I can say that, it is.
Yeah,
is
man.
you're literally the punching bag of your business forever.
Yeah.
Like you just
You're the guy.
You're the one
It all
that
falls on you.
It takes every. Yeah, and so I had a situation where, one of my contractors and I didn't see eye to eye on a quote. So they did work. We never agreed on a price. They kind of just told me, "Don't worry about it. We'll do it as cheap as we possibly can."
Yeah.
And at the end of the work, they gave me the bill, and it's like, no joke, 10 times what I had budgeted for the actual work. So I'm like, well, I can't pay you this. Like, there was no paper to say this is what it's going to be or a bid or anything. It was just literally a handshake saying, don't worry about it. We'll do it cheap. We'll do it fast. Don't worry. So I send him a text and say, hey, I'm going to call you today or tomorrow after I calm down today. Like, I don't want to talk to you today because it's not going to go well. My ego wanted to just absolutely destroy this person. I felt like I was personally attacked, taken advantage of. You know, I took it personally. I took the day, and my perception was this guy knew what position I was in. This guy believed that I had more money than I had brains because of the perception. And so it's very easy for me to believe that he's out to get me or out to use me. So I took the day and I said, let me put myself into this guy's shoes, like truly. And the chances of this guy, who has known me now for a 5-6 month process, the chances that this guy is deliberately trying to sabotage me or hurt me or extort me or whatever are probably low. What this guy basically did is in his own mind, he thought this was going to be, I'm going to use arbitrary numbers. This could have been a $40,000 installation. He only charged me $12,000. In his mind, it was a great deal for him. We never spoke about a number figure in the first place. Had he told me it was even $5,000, I would have been like, don't do the work. I'll do it myself. I'll figure it out. So anyway, I give him a phone call, and immediately there's obviously animosity. Immediately, I didn't even say a word yet, and he's already like, okay, I'll take $2,000 off because of this, and this reason. And then he starts backing up why it's the price that it is. I haven't even fucking said a word yet. And he goes, if you ask anybody, it's great work. If you go and get another bid, it'll be 3 times as much. And I told him, like, hey, stop. I'm not here to argue whether you're worth the money you're asking me to give you. I am the very first person to always make sure people value themselves accordingly to their gift. And you did a phenomenal job. Your guys here did a great job. I'm not here to beat you up about you're too expensive. I'm here to tell you that I don't have that money. So our goal together as a team right now is to figure out a way that you get what you deserve value-wise, and I'm able to do it. Dude, and it de-escalated the entire thing in a millisecond. He stopped being defensive and automatically switched over to very helpful, cordial, and nice.
That's a beautiful way to handle it.
It's the truth. I don't give a shit if this guy feels like I'm superior to him. My goal is to get this fucking gym open.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if he thinks he's better than me or, you know what I'm saying? Like, the goal isn't to make me feel like a boss. The goal is to get the fucking gym open.
Right.
So let's focus on that perspective.
You got to put your ego aside.
It doesn't matter. What's it matter? What's it matter that this, you know what I mean? So.
Oh, dude, ego will mess up everything always.
But it's such a useful tool.
It's good to have a healthy ego.
Absolutely. It's necessary.
In confrontation, when you're leading with ego, it's often wrong.
Ego without proper end result in mind is when it becomes disastrous. Because I could have won that conversation, and he would have went and absolutely obliterated me to every single person he knows. And I would have had bad word of mouth. I would have had bad energy. I would have had all this negativity surrounding this process, which in the end will always karma come back to you. Always. I'm a very huge believer on whatever vibrations you create, that is essentially what you've asked it back into your life. So if I go into an attack mode, and even if I win this attack, I don't get the result I'm trying to get, like, how does that help me?
Right.
So, there's this quote that I constantly repeat myself since this started last October. It's, you can always tell the size of a man by the size of the things he lets bother him. So if I want to be a big man and I want to be this boisterous ego, then I have to not let things bother me. I have to just keep in mind the perspective of what are you trying to do, dude, and then just keep congruent with that. And it fucking works.
Yeah, dude. At the end of the day, at the very least, it's just a learning lesson for you. As you're working with people, I mean, those are going to be future projects as you move throughout life, and you just learned a big lesson.
That's going to save me millions of dollars one day.
Dude, every lesson is learned by a mistake. Nobody.
You won't remember it if you don't fuck it up.
No, it has to be associated with pain.
Exactly. Struggle and pain is life.
It is.
Period.
It's necessary.
You have to have it.
You have to create a strong emotional attachment to a lesson to really have that thing set in.
If it doesn't hurt, why wouldn't you do it?
Right.
If you sit in a chair that's comfortable, why would you move? You don't move. You don't do anything if something's comfortable. So if I sit in a chair that's fucking amazing, I'm going to spend a lot more time there than if I sat down and there's fucking spikes in my ass. Like, I'm going to get up immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have to set up a life in a way that there's enough spikes, at least more than 50% of your day should be spikes to keep you moving forward. Because if you put it all plush, like, why would you fucking move?
Yeah, and also try to learn how, I think you have to learn how to reassociate things, that the things that you don't like that are good for you, say, oh, fuck, I don't want to go to the gym. Right? You're trying to create a reassociation with the gym to where it's a pleasurable thing. It's a positive thing. It's like, no, that is where I want to go.
So I was listening to Rogan the other day, and I can't remember the guy he had on there, but he was like a metaphysicist, and they were talking about the consciousness of the universe. Okay, so as an entity, the universe has a consciousness, and it has its own equation for life, like the life equation.
Okay.
And this is directly correlated to pain and struggle. And Rogan kind of is talking about why are we so materialistic as by nature? Like, why are we so dead? Because if Rogan likes to talk about, if you take a telescope and you go way, way, way back out and you kind of observe humanity as a whole, it's just a bunch of living things that just make shit better.
Yeah.
That just promote things and progress things.
Like better and better stuff.
Right, always. Why is that so ingrained? And this guy says, well, chaos is part of the equation of the universe. So if you think about it as a species, evolution is only predicated on the necessity of evolution, which is predicated on problems. So without chaos, there cannot be life. Without problems, there cannot be expansion. So we are embedded with the need to solve problems and the need to overcome struggle. So if I don't introduce struggle, I don't feel life. I don't feel alive. I don't feel fulfilled.
Right. And
our materialism comes from the fact that I caused myself a problem. Maybe there wasn't a very large problem, but it's innate in the structure of the universe that I need to create a problem for myself to solve so that I can feel like I'm progressing, which means I can feel alive.
So you think that like materialism is rooted in needing to solve a problem?
Correct.
So we go and just buy things to satisfy that need?
The equation of life.
Because acquiring is solving some sort of problem for you. Whatever that problem is deemed for you. It's like, oh, I don't have anything to wear tonight. That's a problem.
So instead of
I need to go buy some shit.
Instead of, even basically, instead of cutting up what I do have to make it look different, like I have to go acquire something new to solve this problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And because, now let's play devil's advocate, because that's what I like to do. I like to hear a theory, and then I try to play out the exact opposite point of the theory.
Of course.
Right? So now you go, okay, what is the opposite of materialism? Minimalism. That's a common thing that's popularized now. You only have 10 items, and that's all you get.
Yeah. That's been pushed for probably the last decade,
No
I'd
doubt.
say. Yeah.
And it's to declutter your mind and to help you refocus on life, and because we do have a lot of options right now, right?
But
so
continue where you're going.
Yeah. No. So if you do minimalism, let's play that out, dude. So you turn 18, you've acquired all your 10 items, you have a wife, you have your kid, and now it's just time to be happy for 50 years. Sunsets, hunting. even hunting a bigger animal. Like, even if you minimalize your life, life itself gives you these obstacles and structures and struggles to overcome. Famine, drought, harsh winter, preparedness. You have to prepare, acquire, create. Like, it's just innately in the structure of life.
Yeah.
So instead of fighting against it, why not learn how to manage it in your favor? So if I can control the pain and the struggle that I'm putting myself within, because the result is somewhere I believe will help me become more myself, then you feel fulfilled from your problems. But if you're constantly trying to run away from problems, life, again, will give you some, but they won't be yours, and you won't know where you're going, and you don't know if it's worth it. So all then you become is a victim of life. And then you run your life through that.
If you're just running away from your problems.
Which you can't do.
Yeah.
You can't solve all your problems, and you can't run away from all your problems.
So you lost me there when we started with minimalism and we got to running away from problems.
Okay, so again, the opposite of materialism is minimalism.
Right, so like just not having possessions.
Yes, exactly. You have a room.
So is that kind of like, you're saying like that's kind of like denying the innate, just like the innate like attraction that we have to accumulating things?
Your attempt to, and even when you attempt to, what happens in that attempt? Because if you say, okay, tomorrow, Bart, I'm going into the woods, I'm building a cabin, and I'm being minimalistic.
Okay.
You assume that you've now separated yourself from materialism, right?
Oh, but even in that, you're still going to need to accumulate things.
You do it anyway.
Yeah.
Even in a smaller scale, you're still going to do it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're saying like that's just an innate thing that we have to do, and so there's the extreme of doing it too much, and then there's the extreme of where we're just completely just trying to deny that part of ourselves.
Right. Like, even if you try to deny it, you physically can't. It's literally impossible as a living atom structure.
Yeah.
Because we are part of the universe, that everything's interconnected. We all follow the same laws.
Right.
Always.
Sometimes my stupid monkey brain tries to make sense of things, and I try to draw conclusions where maybe there are, maybe there aren't. I don't know. But sometimes I wonder. I'm like, man, did this minimalism thing come about as a way to start shifting perspective of having less stuff, and then as a result you begin renting and you don't try to acquire property, and
so now we're going into governmental side,
and then you don't have stuff, right? And then all of a sudden you start hearing the World Economic Forum saying that you'll own nothing.
Crickets.
And you'll be happy about it. And then there's also a ton of corporate investment firms who are buying up single family homes, and they're building apartments everywhere, and a whole bunch of people are renting. And I personally, there was a time where I was kind of really attracted to that minimalist idea, especially in my 20s. And dude, I got fired from Express Scripts. This was 5 years ago now. And so like I was like 29, kind of right around there. And I can remember kind of still feeling that way, like, oh man, do I need less stuff? And then also I needed a whole bunch of money because I just got fired from my job. So I sold all of my like DVDs. I had a massive DVD class. I was like, oh, I don't really need these. I can probably get anything digitally if I actually want it. So I sold it.
Yeah.
But then now I'm like, man, was that a terrible mistake? Because if everything's digital, then what happens?
Take it away from you.
What if? Think about this, and this is just the next step I take. Okay, we go completely digital, and aside from the idea of the World Economic Forum saying, all right, you're going to own nothing and be happy about it, but the idea of you start studying history and humans and just the time span of it all, and there's some people who believe that we've probably had about 3 or 4 major resets in human history where we go back to fucking zero, bro. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of evidence to show this. So who's to say that if that does happen and we just get smashed by something, or there's some crazy shit that happens and everything's digital, we're going to lose a massive amount of information, and we're going to go back to the Stone Age.
100%.
So, I just don't know if it's always the best move to have nothing.
Well,
that was a long fucking
no,
road, right?
dude. And not only do I 100% agree with you, but now as you know, we get into our 30s and we have so many years of experience, and we've tried different avenues and theories and ways of life, and we've made these conclusions that like pain is life, and there's always going to be problems, and there's nothing to run away from, and that the ones leading us more than likely don't have our best interest in mind, because it behooves them not to.
Right.
Right? Yeah, dude, I have now become so anti everything, anti-establishment, anti all of it, because they all lie. Like it is part of the process of the duty of what they do to lie. And the way I kind of broke that down to not be angry about it or to not be judgmental about it, because I think sometimes we get into these modes where like, I don't trust the government, fuck them and fuck this, and I'm like, no, dude, look at it from a natural standpoint. I'm a very big believer of if it exists, it's supposed to exist, okay? Nature has never fucked up. Life doesn't fuck up. Life gives everything for a reason. Now, we may fuck up using it properly or not, but it belongs. So think of it as, you know, you're a parent and you have a partner and you have children. So you and your partner are the leader of your house, which is 5 kids, all various ages. You and your partner, late night pillow talk about what are we doing as a family? What do we need to do? What's the future? What are we trying to accomplish? What are we trying to help our children accomplish? And you set a plan between just the two of you. Now, whatever language you two put together in order to make that plan, you cannot go then to your children and say it in the exact same way, or be completely transparent because they may not like what you're about to do to them or tell them to do or try to direct them to do. So the two of you make a plan, and then you have to devise a way, an action plan, to then transfer that energy and that information into your children in a way that gets them to do what you want them to do, in a way that makes them think that they're the ones making the decisions to do so, because that's how they'll actually follow through on it. If you just go to them and say, this is what I want you to do and this is what you need to do, you have pretty much a sure chance that they're going to fight you on it or have qualms about doing it, or at least not follow through. That's at the fucking household level. You go now to, let's say, corporations. The CEO and the vice president do the exact same thing. They have a board meeting. They have a where we're going as a company. What do we got to implement? And then they have a strategy meeting with the whole company and present it in a fucking fantabulous, super exciting way to get everyone to do what they want them to do. That's corporate level. Now do it on a country level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's for sure whatever we're being told is not the fucking truth.
There's a lot of theater.
Always.
Yeah.
It has to be, because as you know, you've spoken to a lot of smart and intellectual people, and the reason why you think they're smart and intellectual is because everyone else is fucking stupid. Everyone else you talk to on a regular out there basis a lot of times doesn't want to know the truth, runs away from responsibilities, doesn't want to do the things that actually make changes in their life.
Yeah.
That's the only way to identify those that do.
There's so much information. We're inundated with more information than ever before.
Correct.
How do you keep up with it? You know, you talk to some people, it can be so overwhelming when you look at all the shit, and then you have to parse through what's real, what's not real.
It's all fake. Whatever we're being told on purpose is not the truth.
Oh, of course.
For sure, right? So
you
then
gotta say, why am I being told this?
Because it's not true. Because even if I think about, like, if aliens came down and, like, obviously they knew more than we did, like, even the language at which they were telling us is a way, how do I put this?
Now, are you referring specifically to, like, mainstream media?
I'm talking almost, I'll break it down to, like, my personal theory, and that way will maybe make more sense as to my belief of outside. When the pandemic went down, when they were talking about corona, when they were talking about this, that, and the other thing, the way I survived mentally is I only took information from my surroundings that I personally was able to identify as true, meaning I personally had interaction with. If I spoke to you, your personal experience is what I took as truth. Not what you saw or what you thought you saw or what someone told you. I only understood and listened to the things you personally did, and I only did whatever I personally saw. So during the pandemic, and respect to anyone who had negative effects during it, if I hadn't watched TV or listened to someone that had anecdotal evidence, I would have had no idea that it even existed.
Same.
I woke up, I went to work, I saw my people, I went home every day for those 2 years, and I never experienced anything other than that. So any negativity that I would have had mentally or emotionally would have came from hypothetical information that's now been filtered through so many people, it's probably not true. So how can I change my life on evidence and information that I have absolutely no trust in whatsoever?
Yeah.
I won't. So call me whatever you want to call me, but my life didn't get worse during 2020 or 2021 at all.
Yeah.
I still improved. I still progressed.
I did a lot of jiu-jitsu during 2020.
Yeah.
I did a ton.
I didn't close my gym. I didn't stop training my clients. Not for a fucking day. Not one.
No, that was the best thing anybody could do was keep working out during that time.
No shit.
Be healthy as possible.
Again, so if I just kind of have this way of life where I do my best to only operate off of information I know is true and not hypothetical shit, I stop wasting time on things that more than likely I'll have no influence over whatsoever.
Just focus on the things that you can control.
Did you hear what so-and-so said? No, I didn't.
No.
Well, they said this. No, you don't know that. You know what a reporter said to another reporter that reported it from their perspective said. That has literally no meaning whatsoever. Or a snippet of dialogue or a put together little synopsis of some things that they said and they together put it into a sentence that wasn't really a fucking sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that is most frustrating is the exposure. Like there's so much exposed truth of fabrication that no one has done anything about.
That's the interesting thing, right?
Right?
You have like Nancy Pelosi's husband, who's the greatest investor in the history of America.
Yeah.
Yet we just allow blatant lies
to our face,
and fraud. And
yes.
What do we do, though, is the question. You ask. I mean, it's super important. Obviously, the primaries are coming up, and that's important to to get involved into your community and set the standard on your day-to-day. You know what I'm really, this is another point, but what I'm really just realizing is that too many of us are glued to the opinions of what we are seeing online or on TV or we're hearing through the radio or however people are consuming their digital information. None of that matters, dude. Life is lived here in the real world,
Mm-hmm.
and as I'm building my business is done in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you see coming across your feed because somebody put together a cool ass video and they sponsored it.
Yeah.
So it's like that's not business, that's not life, and so many people are living life through their a phone or TV or whatever the case may be, and man, it's just not. It's an off perception to have.
Because, right, so why? And you're 100% right, which is where my personal theory of how I conduct myself came from. Well, I will only operate off of what I personally experience, right? I will not make decisions off of anything that I see digitally, ever. I will only make personal fucking choices off of a handshake or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I won't close my business because a whole bunch of people I don't know told me. So to kind of get back to the thing that you have to be okay forcing the hand. So what do? We have to force the hand. If I don't shut down my business and I continue my business because I personally believe that it's the right thing to do, and everyone else that also believes that also doesn't shut down their business, that itself dictates the climate out there, right? If all the people that did agree with me did what they thought they should do, then there wouldn't be shutdowns.
Right.
Because I guarantee a lot more people wanted to keep their businesses open than they wanted to close them,
Mm-hmm.
right? But because they were afraid of what the community might say, or they might get in trouble, they might get fines, they might get this, they folded based off of information that was hypothetical.
Yeah.
One guy got fucking fines, right? You got Attilius, I think, is in New Jersey. Ian, right?
Yeah, Ian Smith.
Right, and then a House of Pain here in Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Okay, that's two.
Issues. Yeah.
That's two, right? What if no one shut the fuck down Force them to find all of us. Force them to fucking lock all of us down. Like the Bugs Life thing where they're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, grasshoppers
okay,
and ants.
that's what we do, bro. Because, yes, we can go vote. That's one thing you can do.
That's one thing,
Yeah, but we've seen the last election that may not fucking matter either, right?
Mm-hmm.
What can you personally put your fucking hands on and make a difference with? Do that. And what that means is just live your fucking life as
how
if
you live your life.
that's it.
Yeah,
how
bro.
you conduct yourself and how you live your life. So if police officers have to come arrest me and they have to, I'm going to say, look me in the fucking eye and say, I am under arrest for feeding my family. Go ahead. That's on you now, bro.
Yeah.
I did my thing.
And then when they say I'm just doing my job, oh my God, that's just, what kind of mindset is that, dude? That's the scary thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's been experiments forever that dictate this. I posted one. I can't remember the
For
right,
sure,
the
man.
authoritative.
They had the Stanford experiment,
Yeah.
super famous for that.
The jail, right?
Yep.
In prison. There's also the one where like the shock experiment. Do you know that one?
Yeah, man. You know, they still would shock. So there's the actor who would come in, and they would have the what's the subjects, I guess.
Mhm.
They think that they are administrating shocks, right, to
That's
the
right.
actor in the other room. They're asking questions
By a
right?
doctor.
Exactly.
A doctor sitting in a lab
Sitting
coat.
right there behind them. They're the expert, right?
That's right.
They're
Who's also
they're
an
the
actor.
authority, also an actor, right? And they say if they get the answer wrong, then you need to shock them, right? So they shock them and they progressively make it worse and worse, right? The person sounds like they're fucking dying.
There's literally crossbones on the last button, like death. It
Really?
literally says
Yeah.
death on the last button.
Now, I don't think they can see the person, right? I think
No.
it's just coming through the
Sound.
speaker,
It's
right?
just
The sound
sound.
through the speaker, right? And eventually, I think the person goes quiet.
After the third, there's 3 buttons left. So the 4th to last button ends the sound. And 65% of the people still press the last 3 buttons.
So what does that say about people whenever an authority tells them what to do?
Explains Nazi Germany. That the whole point of that experiment was to how can these soldiers put people in gas chambers?
Yeah.
Because 65% of the time they're just listening to orders because someone seems authoritative.
Yeah, so I just read this book. It's called The True Believer, and it's often talking about, what makes up the true believer, often like the circumstances, and then there's just a lot of that like goes into creating a fanatic, and it really goes into kind of that. And one of the things it talks about is how often, people, what they really want, they don't want freedom in the sense of what we believe freedom is or was meant to be here in America. They want freedom from consequence. They want freedom from actually having to make decisions, and they want freedom from the responsibility of failure for making those decisions. So
Yeah.
people want assurances. So people will trade freedom for assurances every time. And it's a very scary thing to think about.
That's gnarly.
Dude.
That's slavery.
It's scary, man. It's scary. So, a lot of people, you can also, a pivotal time in history is obviously World War II, the Nazis, all that shit. And a lot of times people ask themselves, like, how did these people do such horrific things, these soldiers? They'd go and they'd kill people and rape people and do these horrific things. And oftentimes you talk to some of these people, maybe like after the fact, I think, there's some interviews and whatnot where, like, these people just didn't see themselves as doing it. It's like a third person thing because it wasn't them making a decision, and it was authority telling them to go do.
They were a tool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just people want the freedom
It's
from responsibility.
It's that, right? They didn't make the decision, and there was no consequence for doing it.
Exactly.
So how can it be bad? Bad things are only bad if there's consequences from doing them.
Mm-hmm.
If you can steal $1 million and you never go to jail, that was great.
Yeah.
I got $1 million. Like, why would I not do that?
That's so scary.
Even if I stole it from orphanages, and now a bunch of kids can't eat, but there's no consequence. I didn't see the kids. Maybe I did, but they didn't die at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, we're so perceptive, and perception is reality. So if I perceive no consequence, then good and bad is literally philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. There is no innate good or bad. Because even in like the law of attraction metaphysical world where we talk about quantum physics and the interaction between atoms, the life doesn't understand good or bad. Life just understands life. Life just understands vibration. We, because of consciousness and morality and all this, we're the ones that decide if something's good or bad. And truly, you don't even make that decision until way after the fact. Because, have you heard that, was it the Chinese farmer whose son broke his leg, and the whole village comes and says, I'm so sorry for your son. Have you heard this before?
No.
Oh, dude, okay. So this whole village comes and says, I'm so sorry for your son's broken leg. Farmer says, we'll see. 2 days later, the Chinese army comes and starts drafting people and doesn't draft their kid because he's got a broken leg. And they all come and say, congratulations, you kept your son. And he'll say, we'll see. So then the next day, because he wasn't drafted, a big flood came and fucked his entire farm up. And, they're so sorry, we'll see. And then because it flooded, a whole bunch of grass grew and a whole bunch of, a stampede of horses came. And now he has a whole stable of horses that are very expensive. Congratulations, we'll see. Same son got on one of those horses the next day, fell off and broke his neck, is now he's paralyzed. So you don't know if something is a positive or negative until you look hindsight.
Yeah.
My gym was supposed to open in January. Hasn't, obviously. A lot of delays, a lot of supply chain issues. Frustrating. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Paying rent without any income. Like, there's a whole bunch of, problems. We're going to open at the peak time to open because everyone's getting off of summer and trying to get back into shape because they just gained 60 pounds doing barbecues for the last 3 months. I didn't plan that.
Yeah.
But it's a benefit. So even good or bad, like, we can't innately say, like, that was good or that was bad.
It's that whole idea that things just are, right? And it's just, what do we assign to them?
How do you want to pronounce yourself into this life? How do you want to vibrate on a regular basis? Not so much because of how people perceive you, but because of what you would like in your life.
Right.
If you innately enjoy pain, not pain, suffering in a way of murder and messianistic views, and you're going to get that into your life. And you can't be mad about it because you're the one doing it into life.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, you look at that psychopath, and there's plenty of interviews with absolutely horrific people, and they're smiling and happy as can be because they enjoy cutting people's fucking heads off.
Yeah.
And so in his body and his fucking perception of life, he's like, yeah, this is cool. We, because of our morality, go like, that's the worst life to live ever. You're stuck in jail and this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So philosophically, that's why a lot of philosophers end up killing themselves, is because the answer is there's no fucking answer.
No, dude. No one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's just so much. Life is wild, bro.
It's awesome.
It
it's
is.
so fucking interesting and
Yeah.
so fun to like explore.
Yeah. I think about the people, like, we came across each other back in college, dude, well over a decade ago. And it's just so interesting, the people that you come across, and to see how just life unfolds, I mean.
We haven't literally spoken face to face in probably 13 years. Something like that.
Probably, yeah, I think
11, 12 years.
Probably 12 years, I think. Since I left, I think, Self-Made Superstore in 2010, I moved. So we graduated, and at least I graduated. You graduated in 2010 as well, or?
Yeah.
So graduated in 2010. I moved to San Antonio like a couple weeks after graduation, and I think that's probably the last time I've seen you, dude.
So how much life has happened in those 12 years, yet we can sit down and have a fucking out. Like, I don't even know how long we've been talking, but I could talk like this for the rest of the fucking day.
Yeah.
We jive. We're exploring each other's perceptions and philosophies and theories, and like, that's an energy, bro. And like, that's not something you fake or generate. Like, this is gonna happen till we die. We can meet again at 50 and have just another fucking great conversation.
And the interesting thing is, like, how much stuff can happen between now and then.
A shit ton.
Dude, I think about just, as you were building something, right? Like, how much can happen in 5 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, it's going to be a completely different thing. I mean.
Yeah. But like, it is, obviously, because we have scares and dangers, and now they're pushing, we had like 4 hot days, and so ever since then, all I hear is like climate, and we got to spend money on climate, and like today, I was in the gym, and then obviously they got the TVs going, and they're like violent weather, and it shows like temperatures that are generally normal for fucking summer in red, when before it was just a map of temperatures, and now the temperature map is red. So now they're going to be pushing that. There's all these things that we can get caught up on. But then again, man, look back, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, Cold War, Korean War, Gulf War, like all these time periods, everyone was fucking shitting their pants. All the time. They always had some reason to shit their pants. When the pandemic started, they threw a list up of like every X years, there's like a huge pandemic scare. H1N1, like all these, right? So dude, like that's just how we do things apparently. Like to think that now we're dealing with something that's the worst that's ever been, and it's been this fucking same shit, just different dialect for the last forever.
Yeah,
right?
that's just the hubris of people, right? And I think it's also probably just generations as we come up. You come of age at a time, and then you just act like your time is just so unique.
It's the most important.
Everything's unique, but dude, time is cyclical, and there's always these turnings that are happening, and there's always things that are occurring, right? And really what is all this really is different is just what phase of life is a generation in and how to respond.
It's just the language. It's the language of the time.
Yeah, dude, it's wild, man. But I guess what I was more so saying is just like how, from a business perspective, like how much can you build in 5 years, dude?
Yeah,
it's just so cool to see, like, you know, you've been on this journey now for 5 years now, or
this specific
journey, like
last October is when I broke ground on this lease to start.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, like once you decided to go at it on your own.
4 years.
4 years. So the last 4 years you've been on this journey, right? So and you've done so much, right? In like 4 years where you go from you're fully employed, right, working at S2.
Career salary,
doing that. You built your life around that income and that way of life. And then you're like, all right, I'm going to go at it on my own now. Like, this is just where my life is taking me. And then now 4 years later, almost 5, right, whenever I just kind of like bucket things in like the 5. Like in 1 year after this is open, right, that would be that kind of that 5-year mark for you. Just think where you're going to be in the next 5 years, so 6 years from today. And I'm just like, dude, it's just so cool to see people that I knew you as a college kid.
Yeah.
Right?
I wasn't like this back then.
And we were like just working at Supplement Superstore and like we're lifting and just doing
watching movies in the back because we see 6 people a day.
Yeah, dude. Exactly, dude. Slanging. We went from slanging there. I think first one had 2 products, bro.
I started when they had 1. I think they had just Ignition.
Probably, yeah.
I think it was like Ignition Light. No, it was Level 1 Light and Ignition. Those are the only 2 things they had.
Yeah, exactly. That they had Level 1 and they had Ignition, and we were slinging with that like ISO Pure 9000, bro.
Dude, that Wild Berry was the
shit,
man.
Was so good, dude. Yes, and then like we had so those early ass days, and then now it's like boom.
What's funny is you say that
12 years, 13.
I feel like I haven't done shit in 5 years. I feel like I should be twice as fucking far in these 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I've lived each of these days, and there's been so much slime and sludge and shit to fucking run through. In my mind, if I didn't have that sludge, I'd be twice as fucking far. I should already have 4 of these fucking open.
Yeah, but you have to trudge through the mud. It's just
that's the property of struggle and pain, bro.
The inevitable.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
you gotta enjoy
have to
it.
Go through it.
Yeah, and that's where the power is, and that's when the second one opens. It's twice as good as this one, and the 14th opens. It's 14 times. So like. All those lessons about price and this and that are going to save me millions of fucking dollars one day.
Oh, yeah.
It's the cheapest lesson to learn right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's all perception.
It's all perception.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so cool to see, dude.
Thanks, dude.
Like, you're working hard. You got some shit going, dude. I mean, it's all circled around. Sounds like the philosophy of having balance in all of these areas and not necessarily attacking all of these areas at once, but let's start here with the physical, because I'm a big believer that everything starts with the mind, and there is that mind-body connection. So you train the body, you're training the mind.
Absolutely.
You strengthen the mind, you can take control of your entire reality. You know what I'm saying? I mean, literally, when I think about like what does it mean to impose your will, it's like you can impose your will one decision at a time. Like making that next decision and raising the standard in which you live your life, and just how you view the world can change everything.
And it can change moment by moment.
Yes.
So your will is imposed by decision, and it can be literally the exact opposite of everything you've ever fucking done right now.
Yes.
Like this moment could be the fucking change of your life.
You need no permission to be the person that you want to be. You can just wake up tomorrow and decide, all right, who am I attracted to? Who are the people that I aspire to be like? What are their characteristics? Oh, they're charismatic, they're funny, they're friendly. You know, they're the life of the party, or they're inquisitive, or whatever the case may be. You can start figuring out, how can I develop these traits? How can I be those traits? Or you can just start doing them as well. Practice, find different ways to develop these things, and you can be that person.
Dude, so let me ask you this. Like, 'cause like on my arm I have silence and solitude, tattooed. I think those are the two most important things in any person's life. Like the ability to disengage from media and to have enough quietness to understand our own thoughts. So I'll even argue even a little bit further, like, do you think that looking and modeling after lives that you've seen is a easier thing to do than just sitting on your own and being like, what kind of person do I want to be? And completely have no connection to any person when you go through that?
I think that us as humans, we are creatures that can't, I won't say can't, I think that we're all influenced by our surroundings, whether we like it or not, whether it's something we're directly or indirectly exposed to. And I think that there are maybe just some universal traits that are just attractive and lead to success. So I think as a person, if you think of these traits, I think it's easier to maybe pinpoint those traits into in another person that you kind of want to be like. So like the whole idea of, I'm a big believer in like the law of attraction, right? Just like, like you've already mentioned, the energy we're putting out is the energy that we're often getting back. But here's the thing, that so when you connect with somebody who's on that same frequency, right, and you have that connection, you're also going to get people who are attracted to that energy who aren't of that same frequency, but they want that frequency, right? So you're going to get people try to steal your energy. So I just think that we can recognize certain things like in vibrations. So instead of being like that person that wants to go like take that from somebody, to your point, you can sit in solitude and silence, and maybe you saw that in somebody else, and now you can take that. All right, now how can I develop those traits? It's not that I want to be that person, but it's like, man, I like how when they walk into a room, they command attention and people give them attention. They have a bright smile and they speak clearly and loud and they articulate well. And how can I develop those traits? It's not that I want to be that person, but how can I do that type of thing?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think that we're all influenced by people. As much as I would like to believe like I'm just this individual thing and I'm not influenced by other things, I think we all are influenced in some form or fashion.
And that's a piece of education that I think podcasting and conversations with people, I think that's one thing that I would love people to take away, is the understanding of that difference. Because you will look at fitness, finance, relationship, mindset. You'll look at someone who you idolize, even not like celebrity wise. I'm just saying, like, you look at someone and you go, man, I want what they have, or I want to be like they are. And the incorrect, I'll say that, incorrect way of doing it is to try to assume how they would behave in certain situations and then emulate that.
Right.
Because that's not you. You're acting.
You're
pretending. And what does pretending do? It causes you stress and you fucking inflate or deflate at one point, right? So everyone that I've looked up to in my life for whatever reason, I did exactly what you said. I said, wow, what a situation. I knew if I was in that position how I would behave, and it wasn't as good as what they just did. And then I go one step further and I go, what traits do they contain that let them do that action? Now, my action may look different because I'm a different person.
Right.
But they used their character, they were loyal, they were straightforward, and they were honest. Okay, honesty means something different to me because my truth is different than that person. But I can still tell you my honesty. Okay, now I am duplicating the thing that I admire, but in my own way.
Exactly.
The difference is a lot of people say, whoa, that guy yelled at everybody in that situation. I'm going to go yell at everybody in that situation.
Right.
And then they're yelling things they don't even fucking believe in, and everyone sees through it, and he says, what a fucking douchebag, and no one fucking follows that guy. But if I go, okay, he was honest with what he said. Okay, here's a situation. Oh, shit, I should probably be honest. Boom, honesty. It's the exact opposite of what the guy said that I admired. But because it was honest, it got the same reaction.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where people really start building themselves up and progressing through life and fulfilling themselves. And they're expressing really who they are.
100%. I think you see that in a lot of different ways, right? Whether it's, somebody who's trying to be an artist, early when they're trying to find their own voice, they'll kind of emulate the people that they want to be like. Or they're a writer, they're kind of writing the style of somebody, or an actor.
You're right about that, man.
I think we all do that. So I wonder, is that just the natural progression where as we're becoming more comfortable with who we are and where we fit in life. And I don't know, and you tell me, I don't know, but I think we're the exact same age. Are you also 34, 35?
I turned 35 last Saturday.
Perfect. Yeah. So it's like, for me anyway, and my kids are so embarrassed by me. They're 12 and 14, bro. And
That's crazy.
and I'm just so comfortable just being just myself. I'm just so dorky, and I'm just, I don't care anymore. Like, I don't care what people think. There's just so much of your early life where you're so worried about what people think.
Yeah.
And you're just not comfortable just being you or what that is.
Okay.
And then as we're progressing, we start emulating people instead of being who you are.
So
it's like that discovery process.
It's irony, and I've had many discussions on like life is just this yin yang of irony, because as you grow up, you care what people think. You do things that you think will get people to like you. They don't like you because they know you're doing things to get them to like you. You stop caring and you start doing things that you don't care if people like you, and they start liking you because you don't care what people like.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have this positive reinforcement, which ultimately is giving you what you want, which is acceptance, by not searching for acceptance, which enforces you to not care about acceptance even more, which then gets people to like you even more. And that's why we keep doing it as we get older. But some people never cross over to that point, and they never see the power of not giving a shit. It gives them exactly what they're looking for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And how much more power is there to not only do what you think is best for yourself and to express yourself, and then get the thing you've always wanted, which is acceptance? Because you don't look at everyone to accept you. You get the people who love you, and they fucking love you because you are yourself.
Yeah.
But when you're everybody, everyone doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that takes a level of self-acceptance, and
It's just a risk. I think there's a risk that you take. You just go, fuck it. I'm so tired of pretending. I'm so tired of wondering what shit to buy and what to wear and where to go and who to talk to. I just fucking don't have enough energy to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna do my own thing for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh fuck, like I got people around me, like legit people. Like people are there. They're listening. They care. They're checking in. Like all this shit I've always fucking wanted. A family. Like, wow, maybe I'll just keep doing. Maybe I'll keep doing this, right? But until you get to that point where you're just fucking sick and tired of it, like when we first started talking, I think even before we started recording, you said people develop until they're 25. Right?
Yeah, your brain is still developing to mid-20s.
So psychology actually breaks it apart into like 3 or 4 zones of development, where some people stop mentally developing at like 9 in terms of their perceptions of the world.
Yeah, like your cognitive ability.
Yeah, well, not even like mathematical potentials. I'm saying like their value system. Mm-hmm. Stops at 9.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So they're very vengeful, spiteful. They're very short-sighted, visioned, where they think very small, very, very right now, like a 9-year-old kid would. Like, I want a cookie. You don't give me a cookie, I'm gonna cry. I don't get that it's gonna ruin my dinner.
Right.
You know
Narcissistic.
100%
right.
selfish, self-centered, all that. And then there's like I think another spot at 15, and then another spot at 25, and then there's a fourth group who never stops. They're consistently evaluating their value systems. They're consistently evaluating the truth of the world. And I think that's how you can have these circles of friends for life, because you've all are in one of those capacities. So you've had friends from you were 9 until you started driving, and then you all kind of switched. And then you've had friends until 25, and then you all kind of went a different way.
Yeah.
They fell off. You kept going.
Yeah.
And then there's friends that you met at 27, and like y'all are just fucking, you know what I mean? Or the friends that you had at 9 and are forever. They're probably developing the same way you're developing. You're constantly evaluating your value lists. You're constantly doing that. And that's a big reason why some people just don't fucking jive, no matter how much they try or how much time they spend together or how much communication they have, because your value systems are completely fucking different.
Right. Yeah, dude, you're not going to like everybody that you meet. You're just not going to connect with everybody.
Yeah. And that's like on purpose.
Right.
Like something I used to talk to people about that were in relationship issues. Let's say you just broke up and you're kind of distraught about it. The thing that most people do in those situations, whether you got fired from your job or your girlfriend left you or whatever, you think like they chose someone else because you're not good enough. Like that's the generalized personal attack that everyone feels whenever something disconnects. But the way I like to think about it is like, you're a triangle, I'm a fucking octagon, that person's a square. Which shape is the best? They're all they're all just shapes.
Mm-hmm.
They're just different shapes.
Yeah.
Some shapes fucking go together and some shapes don't. We, because of consciousness and our ability to be self-aware, are able to round our edges to try to look like the shapes we're around. And I don't want to be alone, so even though I'm a triangle, I'm going to fucking try to jab one of my edges out to look like a square. After 6 months, I can't fucking keep that up anymore. I morph back into a triangle, and that fucking shit don't fit. So it's a very, like, uplifting, powerful understanding that, like, dude, you're not supposed to be what you're not supposed to be, and you'll never will be what you're not supposed to be.
Right.
So just keep being as triangular as you possibly can, and guess what? When you find another triangle, that shit will automatically fucking click.
Yeah.
But if you're this oblong, fucking morphed out weird shape, like, you don't belong anywhere, and no shape will attach to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. When did that click for you?
Oh man. I was ditched all the time as a kid. Like, I'm an only child. My parents are on the older side. They were really old when they had me, so they didn't go to parties or anything. So there wasn't a lot of silliness in my life. There wasn't a lot of parties or groups of people. So I always did what I wanted to do, and people wouldn't want to do it, and then they would go do something else, and I wouldn't go with them. And I always felt like they were running away from me and ditching me and all that stuff. So for the longest time, up until college, this is what I did. Remember Lindenwood, you didn't have digital sign-up processes. You had to literally go through the line and, like, register.
Yeah, bro. You go down into that bottom room there and the Spelman Center, and you had to, like,
stand in a 9-hour-long line.
Dude, you had to weave through all the tables, dude. Yeah.
I was such a loner that I went through that line twice. If anyone's listening at Lindenwood, I faked my own roommate as myself. So I went through that line twice, and I wrote down 2 different names with 2 different social security numbers and picked 2 different sets of classes, and I put myself in the same room so that I wouldn't have a roommate.
How the hell did you do that?
I just fucking tried it, and it fucking worked.
It worked?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I don't know who they were billing. Like, I made up an address, like, the whole thing, dude. But because you know how Lindenwood was, it was all paper. So by the time the one who sends out bills got it, it was like 5 months down the fucking road.
Yeah.
And by the time they didn't get a response, it was like the semester was over.
Yeah.
So,
damn, dude.
So I lived in Parker by myself for 3 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah, faking my own roommate. And it was on that premise of, like, I'm not going to force myself into anybody's circle because I didn't feel like anyone's circle wanted me. So I wasn't going to force myself just to say I wasn't a loner because I've been a loner my whole life, so it didn't really fucking matter to me. And then through Supplement Superstores, that's why Andy means so much to me, is he was the first one in my life to, like, look at my shape or look at who I am as a person and positively expose that to a giant group of people as, like, this is a positive person, this is a good person, this is a you know, a go-getter, be like Bart, like, he has the qualities that we want to emulate. And that was the first time I'm like, oh fuck, being myself is, like, good, like, and I'll have everything I've ever wanted because all I've ever wanted to do is belong, forever, which is ironic because I didn't do anything to belong. I just was okay with not belonging, even though that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
But I would never sacrifice who I was as a person to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up in a really shit part of Chicago, bro. Like, 4 of my best 6 friends are either dead or in jail.
Oh, shit.
Drugs. I've never done a drug in my life. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. But there was drugs in, like, 4th grade. Like bad area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I never thought of it as me.
Yeah.
I was in the environment because that's where I was born and raised, but I never thought like I was part of that.
Got it.
So I don't know where that comes from. I think it's genetic, dude.
Yeah.
I wish I wasn't, so I can, like, teach this or that or the other thing. It's just how I've always been.
Yeah, I get it. Sometimes, you know, it's just like an innate thing. You know, you just kind of want to travel your own path.
Do you ever think, like, when you were younger, did you think that, like, the environment that a human grew up in or interacted with had a majority of the role of how they ended up?
Yeah, I don't know if that was a concept that I really had whenever I was younger.
No?
No.
I did, and as I've gotten older, I think genetics has played a much larger role of who people become rather than their environment. And it was exactly opposite when I was a kid.
Yeah.
As I was growing up, I thought, like, because I was put into this or because I had to do this, because my dad made me do this, I became the person I am.
Yeah.
But then at 35, hundreds of examples of people who had similar situations, and they're completely fucking opposite of me. They're pieces of shit that don't do anything, and they're alcoholics and they're drug addicts. And like, why the fuck didn't I fall into that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's I definitely think it's a blend, right? Because I see my kids and I see certain traits in them, and that's definitely an innate thing that's expressing itself. And, you know, and then you see people, like there's examples of two people growing up in the exact same household and acting completely and turning out completely different, right? So it's, you know, how do you handle the input that you're getting, your experiences? And I don't know what it is entirely, but I think there is a pretty big piece of that is like, what is innate?
Did you ever think of that when you were becoming a dad? And you're gonna have to now teach life into another life?
Oh no, man! I was so young at the time. I mean, now being, you know, fuck, dude. Almost, it's been like I said. My son he'll be 14 on Sunday. So you know, it's been 14 years that he's been around, and I look at the world completely different now than then. So for sure, dude. Life is wild, man. You never know how somebody is necessarily going to turn out. But I think that there's a pretty big piece of it where there's just these character traits that just get passed along through genes, man. And it's so interesting to see how similar people are to their parents.
Well, and that's why I asked that question. Was like, I have a 2-year-old daughter. She's turning 2 August 22nd. And I had this like moment where I got fucking terrified because my dad was not a good dude. Like, he was a genius. He was a manly man. He had absolutely no social skills and did some tyrannical, absolutely horrendous fucking things. Not physically, but just mentally, just irate, crazy shit.
Yeah.
And I love who I am, and I love how I turned out, and I love the stuff that I know, and I love my drive, and I love myself. Do I have to be that douche to my daughter to become this, for her to follow successful traits?
Of course not.
No. But there's a huge scare if I believe that the environment or the struggle and the pain that I went through as a kid created much of my attributes as an adult. You hear all the times rich kids turn out like pieces of shit because of the entitlement and this and that. So I'm like, fuck, dude, how do I want to love this thing more than, like I want to just physically kiss her and hug her all fucking day. Like I don't want her to feel any pain, any of that shit. But I, more than anything, want her to be an amazing human being, and I want her to be so proud of herself with her characteristics and her personal traits. I have to put her through struggle. I just have to have enough tact to do it in such a way that, again, like it's like almost selfish. Like I don't want her to fucking hate me, but like, she needs to struggle, and she needs not to feel like I am going to do everything for her. And
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, how do you introduce that struggle?
Well, so how do you get okay with that as a parent, that you go like, this kid's not going to fucking like me?
At times, for sure.
I mean, in general, they're going to respect me at some point in the future when they love themselves.
Yeah.
But like that process is going to look way different for her than it is going to be for all her friends, and she's going to know that.
Well, what I can say at this stage of the
you got 12 years on me, bro.
14, bro.
Yeah.
Oh no, your daughter's 2. Yeah. Dude, it's the teenagers that get wild in that sense, because dude, when they're young, they absolutely love you. You're the smartest man. They're happy to see you.
Yeah.
They're not really, I think kids, they don't really have this sense of independence and who they are and their own, like, you reach this point where you have this self-realization of you are a sovereign being and you're living your life. And there's this realization that comes along in life. And it's weird that kids don't really have that, like, up until a certain point. And you'll notice the change, because there's a couple of times to where I've heard them say things like that's not my style, or I'm not the type of person that. They'll try to draw these hard lines about who they are.
Boundaries.
They're trying to figure out, they're trying to define where they fit in and what they believe in. So it's interesting to see this transition where it happens in middle school, and they start becoming more influenced by their friends, and they just want to hang out with their friends and not you. And that's, I think, once they hit that point, that's when you're going to run into that situation of where, maybe you're not liked so much. But then, dude, you have a daughter, dude, so she might just be always down to ride. Yeah. My daughter is easier for me than my son is.
Really?
And
your son's older?
Yeah, he's 14. He'll be 14, and then she's 12.
Yeah.
And it's just the whole character, or not character, but just like the personality thing. She is much more similar to me than he is, and he has a lot of character traits of like his mom. So
Gotcha.
you just see the temperaments, and it's just interesting to see them become their own people.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're definitely, dude. This is something that's on my mind all the time. Like my son is definitely pulling away and trying to be his own,
which is
person.
A great thing, technically. I mean, it's
tough as a parent, buddy.
Yeah.
It's tough as a parent.
I'm saying that because I'm not there, obviously.
They think they're smart, you know, and it's just they don't think that you have lived or have done what they are doing.
Because it's different now.
It's different. Everything's different.
Everything's different now, bro. It's not the same.
I'm not like you. I'm my own type of person.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's just weird, man. You learn about generations. There's these archetypes that tend to apply to generations, and there's just this constant cycle rotating through these 4 type of archetypes. And then, you know, the generation that, you know, there's the parents, and then you raise a generation. So you have 2 different generations. So the generation that's coming up in the shadow of the predecessor generation is always going to do something different than that generation.
They have to.
It's just this draw to
Absolutely.
like that. I can't, like you said, you don't want to be the father that you want to be, right? So
That's
you're
right.
gonna do something different, right? And you're gonna try. So there's these cycles and like parenting styles and just beliefs on the world, and it's just crazy to see, dude. I'm reading this book called The Fourth Turning.
Okay.
It's damn near talking about what we're living in right now. It's scarily accurate, but it's just talking about.
Was it written a while ago or like
It's
recently?
written in '97
boy.
by these 2 guys, and it's just talking about the cycles of history and how time is secular. And there's these 4 turnings that tend to happen where we're kind of like in this high moment, and then there's like an awakening, and then there's like an unraveling, and then there's like a crisis, and then it keeps going through these 4 cycles. And then right now, where we are today, right now, or like what the book is predicting the 4th turning. This was in '97, so we're like in this crisis moment.
Yeah.
So I'm reading this shit. I'm like, oh my god.
So unraveling's coming next?
We lived through the unraveling already, and
okay.
then now we're in the crisis.
Gotcha.
And then through the crisis comes like a reset, which is like this high. So hopefully we come out better.
Well,
who knows? But
yeah.
it happens over. The last time we were in the 4th turning was like World War II.
Great.
Yeah. So it happens like every 80 years, roughly. You kind of get through the entire what they call a seculum. Usually like 80 to 100 years. It's just fascinating stuff. So as I look at these archetypes and these personalities, like our generation, at least in the book, is considered what's called like a hero generation. Our parents would have been like a nomad generation, which my mom was that for sure. I mean, she was like a latchkey kid. You know, they had the parenting style of like our parents was completely unprotective to the max.
Absolutely.
Where they didn't watch them. So then you kind of have like this tightening of parenting where we had a little bit more strict, and then
Now
now you're over. We have helicopter parenting,
Absolutely,
right? And then the bounce back to that is you have a little bit of a loosening. Now it's going to probably come from our parents back to, you know,
unrestricted.
Unrestricted, I guess, would be our kids, grandkids. So it's just these cycles, dude. It's just I'm reading this shit. It's
dude.
just it's fascinating.
Just psychologically,
stuff,
it makes sense. Anytime I talk to a client that's having trouble with their kids, you know, it's a very like being on the outside of it. Obviously, I have no emotional ties, so it's just information. And you hear like, well, they want to do this and they want to do this and they want to do this, and everything that they're like so butthurt about. I'm like, none of those things matter. Just let them fucking do it. Like they want to get earrings in their tops of their ears, and they want to do this and they want to do this. And I'm like, okay, are they like sneaking out of the house? Are they like sleeping with people they shouldn't be sleeping with? Are they doing drugs? Are they fucking failing out of school? Like all the really serious shit. No, they're fucking great kids. They want to just wear holes in their jeans and put fucking earrings in their eyeballs.
They're not
like,
meeting your expectation.
They're trying to keep their life, which their kid is a part of, to look a certain way and to be a certain definition. And that stifling is what humans always resist. If you just let me do my own thing and trust me to do my own thing. I mean, think about even at your vocation, when you do a job for somebody, if they're fucking micromanaging you, you go, fuck off. Like, I'm going to get this shit done. Just come back on Friday when it's done. Like, and then if you don't, I'm going to on purpose make your life fucking harder because I don't want you here. Just let me do my thing. Trust me. Let me feel good about myself because I did it. You know, my daughter's doing that shit now. No, me. Like, don't help me, Dad. Like, don't help me, Dad. Like, that's a human nature thing.
Yeah.
How much better is the hike down the forest when you're just fucking walking by yourself than if some dude is directly in front of you going, hey, look at that. Hey, look at that. Hey, we're walking this way. Hey, look at that. Like, it destroys the entire experience.
Yeah, you're moving at your own speed.
That's right. Let me
Yeah,
enjoy this
man.
shit. Let me sit down on this rock for fucking 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So like, just like this, I just have, like, I think, again, like I said earlier, like, nature involves everything on purpose. Like, you just got to let the fuck go.
Yeah, yeah. And to your earlier point, things are always happening.
Yeah.
Nothing's new. Like,
Right.
this is just
Yeah.
life. Life is happening.
Correct.
Let go and do your thing.
Do your thing. Keep yourself with what you can control. You know, there's all these cliches now, right? We've the age of, like, self-development, it feels like it's newer, but it's always been. The Zig Ziglars and everything. Like, that's been forever, man. Fucking Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Like, have you read that?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I have it, yeah.
Yeah. You read it, and it's like he fucking wrote it yesterday. And this dude was alive so long ago, right? So, like, none of this shit is new. None of this. But like you said, the hubris and all that, if you can just take a step back and just realize, I don't know everything now. I know more than I did. I don't know as much as I will. And don't think you have it all put together, and you'll just fucking take your hands off of it and be like, I'm just going to keep reacting in the way that makes me feel loyal, honest, hardworking, determined. You know, things will be as they're supposed to be. The same thing to the triangles, to the squares. If I'm me and you run away, you're not supposed to be in my life. Thank you for leaving. Not, I got to keep him, I got to keep him, I got to keep him.
Right.
Stress. This job doesn't want you. Get the fuck out. Did you do things that made you happy and fulfilled, and you felt good about it? Yeah, I was pretty proud of my work. And they fired you? Yeah, then you're not supposed to fucking be there, bro. Like, it's making room for what belongs.
Happens for you.
Absolutely. Everything happens for you as long as you are true. That's the one thing that, like the, self-development thing, I think, kind of gets fucked up, or law of attraction, or The Secret, really kind of puts it wrong.
Just think it, bro. It
Bro,
happens.
$1 million. Fuck yeah,
Keep sitting
dude.
there.
They forget the whole piece of, like, you got to be honest with yourself, with really what you think and how you feel.
Yes, dude. Your intentions are not just putting the words out. It's how do you feel?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What are your internal core beliefs?
Truly.
For real.
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself.
That's right.
Are you getting jealous when you see that person winning? If you are, be honest about that and try to correct that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've definitely have been that person where I'm like, fuck, man, why is that not me? But it's like, no, it's like, hell yes.
Yeah.
They're winning. Winning is happening. We're winning. Let's win.
When you said, I'm trying to work on my empathy, has your life gotten better since then?
Yeah, man, for sure. I'm definitely able to actually connect with people.
And that helps your
way.
life, and that you feel better about yourself. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's because it was true. It was a true distinction and self-awareness. So no one does that. They all make justifications as to why they do have what they think they don't, or why it's okay that they don't have it, right? You'll say, I don't have empathy. That's great, because that keeps me blunt and honest, and I'm very straightforward, and that's to the point, and I'm phenomenal because of that. When in reality, you're missing out on so many good opportunities to connect with awesome people because you don't have a good enough time connecting on an emotional level, which is where true connection lives.
Right, which is why people just need to come to the Power Project so they can make connections.
I mean, if I can say it.
I said it.
Man, I've been talking to my staff about stuff like that, and the truth of the matter is if you do shit right, you don't have to try that hard to make it work. And if you have to consistently come up with elaborate fucking things to make something work, and you have to hold it up constantly with all of your might every single day, like, it's probably not going to last, even if you do end up being able to figure it out. When we were at the beginning stages of S2, like, you remember, like, they didn't go to chamber meetings. They didn't they didn't do any of that, like, fancy business shit. You just shook people's hands. You listened to what they have to say. You made them feel better about who they were as a person, or you at least taught them something that they used. And then they told their friends. And then the fucking thing blew up. Like, organically. Again, nature, if it's organic, it will last. If it's unorganic, or if it's against nature, like, I don't care how hard you're going to try, it's going to fucking fail.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like, even if you arbitrarily, artificially inflate this gym, get a fuck ton of members, and I sell it within 2 years for a boatload of money, the lessons learned, the experiences had, the connections made aren't organic necessarily, aren't nature, necessarily. I might use that money then to make a stupid decision or invest in another concept that's also artificial. The fucking buck will stop at some point.
Right.
It will all fall apart at some point. It will.
Yeah.
Now, I might be financially stable, but again, 4 pillars, bro. I don't care if you got a bunch of money in the bank, but if you don't feel good about who you are, or if you don't have no relationships, or if you're out of shape because you stressed all the time, like, what's that worth?
Yeah, money is just one piece of the puzzle, right?
You got it, man. It's an extremely important piece because it's freedom.
Yeah.
It allows you to be who you want to be.
Yeah.
That's why I think, like you said, it starts with the mind, right? So I agree. So you got the mindset that gets your body into the physical fitness, which then gives you the energy to go after your finances, which then gives you the freedom to help you through your relationships. It all intervenes.
100%.
So, again, if people took a step back and just were honest with the process, they'll understand all 4 of those pieces. But their ego and all that shit gets in the way, and then they go, well, I have this, so I'm okay. When they're not okay. They don't feel okay. None of their day is okay, but they want to perceive like it is.
Right.
Because it's a lot less work.
Right. Well, you're planting the seeds, man.
Thanks, man.
It's cool to see. It's really cool to see. This space is going to be pretty sensational when it's all said and done, I'm sure.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming down here because I know, you have a studio that you said you can control the environment and everything, so I really do appreciate you coming out. I just really wanted to show it to you.
No, I get it, man. No worries. I'm glad that I've checked it out, dude. It's going to be like, this is just still very bare bones, right?
Yeah, there's no equipment in it yet.
So once you walk in here, I mean, God, it's just going to be so cool. The lighting is awesome. The space is huge. That big open turf space, that's super cool.
Yeah, we're
nice
not
functional space.
Exactly. Every part of fitness belongs. There's not like CrossFit's better than strongman, that's better than powerlifting's better than bodybuilding. Like, it's all of it, and all of it has its space. Like, you can make your legs bigger doing athletic type movements, and you can become faster doing weightlifting, and you become more powerful doing, body weight. Like, it all belongs. And ultimately, if you really enjoy fitness, like, you want to progress through all pieces, right? You don't want to just stifle yourself into a category.
Yeah, like you said, I think most people kind of walk this path, right? You kind of get introduced in the barbell when you're young, and then you start kind of doing more traditional bodybuilder lifts, and then you start discovering all these other fitness avenues, right? And a lot of people travel a similar journey, right?
Well, and then it becomes egotistical, because if you define as a power lifter, then you have to look a certain way, lift a certain way, wear certain clothes, listen to certain music.
Identifying with those things, right?
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks bad.
Fitness and health is just a lifestyle, man. It's just the way in which we operate. Life is long, and you want to be able to get the most out of it. It can be long, hopefully.
Amen. I
always told Deja I'm going to live till I'm 106.
Why 106?
Well, I always knew it was going to be over 100, and I just arbitrarily said 106. So
I'm never dying, bro.
Never?
No. My energy will live forever.
Just going. Oh, yeah, the energy will go on forever.
I'm going to be in everything.
Yeah. Physically?
Yeah.
You're gonna stay just kicking
Dude,
ass.
listen, with our high level of income and modern technology, there's no reason why we can't live to 160, 165.
That's true, man. I'm just gonna kill a whole bunch of kids and drain their blood and infuse their blood and just live forever.
So we have in our locker room actually a little spot that little Johnnies get just shoved in there.
Yes.
And then there's like a straw on the other side.
Yes.
You don't have to see it. Like butcher situation.
No, I want to be removed from the process. This is why I go to the butcher, because they've already done it for me.
Bro, we're going to make millions. Millions of dollars.
Shit, Bart. Dude, let's, hopefully nobody takes us serious. But
hopefully let's laugh enough times that people understand that we're joking.
People are silly, though. That's the thing. People are
They're
silly.
going to comment on that.
Satire.
You shouldn't laugh at shit like that.
Satire is lost on people.
Fuck.
Everyone's so sensitive.
Yeah, because it gives them attention.
Well, the problem is, and this will be probably my last little rant, but just the idea of whenever you start self-censoring and you act like you can't say things, or you have a public opinion and a private opinion, you're way off base.
Bro.
You are way off
You're
base.
the one screwing shit up.
You're not living freely anymore if you have a private opinion and a public opinion.
You're screwing shit up.
If you have an opinion and you think it's going to rub people the wrong way, then maybe you should find just a better way to articulate what you're saying. Because oftentimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So
Sure.
It doesn't mean you have to change the message.
Yeah.
But don't be a pussy and be scared to say what you have to say. You know what I'm saying?
So like the people who still wear masks, like after everyone's stopped wearing them and everything, like you would easily be like, oh, you don't need to wear a mask in your car. What an idiot. I personally have more respect for the ones that are still doing it after everyone has stopped, because at least they're the ones that still actually believe in this shit.
Yeah, they're true believers.
True believer. And I have
you.
more respect for the ones that will put themselves in positions of people making fun of them because of what they believe in. Dope. Go do your thing. I can't stand the ones that were vocal during it, talking shit on me because I wouldn't wear one, and now they're not wearing one because it's okay not to wear one. Like, bro, you're the one that fucked all this up for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You're a fucking pussy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what's cool is it's a filter for people who really don't belong in your life. Because if you stay true to all this shit and you do speak your mind when asked, I don't go out there and ask my opinion. Like, I don't like, you shouldn't do this. Like, if you don't ask me shit, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not.
Right.
You don't care. I know you don't care what I think. If you ask me what I think, I'll tell you. But I'm not going to go around telling people you're stupid or you're dumb or you're this, because that doesn't help.
Listen, dude, I'm changing minds every day on Facebook. I just hop right into the comments and I just tell people what I think, and then they just believe it. So I don't know what you're doing wrong.
I actually visit them afterwards just to confirm that they are now on my mind, like, length. You know what I mean? Like, I
in
shake
person?
their hand. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
no. I only do it through the keyboard. There's no reason for me to leave my chair. I might spill my Cheetos. Jesus Christ.
Well, your mom's coming down with your Hot Pocket at any time.
I sunburn easy. I can't.
I don't believe that.
I can't
I
deal.
don't believe that.
I can't deal with the light.
Unless
Bart.
you're permanently sunburned. I don't believe that, buddy, at all.
Dude, Bart, dude, we've been going for an hour and a half, man.
Oh, shit.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So tell the people that they can check you out. I'll put it in the show notes, but if you want to direct anybody
Yeah,
anywhere.
Instagram is where I'm going to be putting most of the updates. So Project Power Gym on Instagram. My private is Bart Pietrzak, Pietrzak. I also put updates, like a personal update toward the building of the gym. Those are going to be the main spots that
Awesome.
they can check us out.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Dude, thanks again, Bart.
Thanks, brother.
All right,
Appreciate
brother.
it.
All right, everybody.